Right now, without thinking about it, you are breathing. You have been breathing every moment of your life, somewhere around 20,000 times today alone. And in all that time, across all those breaths, nobody ever told you that you were doing it wrong. Not wrong in the way that would kill you. Your body is too smart for that. Wrong in a quieter, slower way. Wrong in a way that has been shaping your anxiety, your energy, your sleep, your focus, and the tension in your face and shoulders for years. Wrong in a way that your ancient ancestors never were, because the world they lived in never gave them a reason to breathe the way you do now. This is the story of how modern life broke the one thing your body was supposed to do automatically, and what happens when you fix it. Your breath is not just air moving in and out. It is a direct line into your nervous system, a lever that controls whether your body is in a state of threat or a state of calm. A signal that your brain reads constantly, every second of every day, to decide what kind of world you are living in. Physiologist and author James Nestor spent years documenting what he calls the lost art of breathing. His research and the work of dozens of scientists before him points to the same uncomfortable conclusion. The way most modern humans breathe is fundamentally different from the way humans breathed for almost all of our history. And that difference is making us sicker, more anxious, and more exhausted than we need to be. So what went wrong? The short answer is your mouth. For most of human evolutionary history, your ancestors breathed through their noses. The nasal passage is not just a tube. It is a sophisticated biological system. It filters particles, it humidifies the air, it regulates temperature before air reaches the lungs, and crucially, it produces a molecule called nitric oxide, which opens the airways, increases oxygen absorption, and has direct antimicrobial properties. When you breathe through your mouth, you bypass all of that. You deliver raw, unfiltered, unhumidified air directly to your lungs. Your oxygen absorption drops, your airways dry out, and the chemical signal your body has been relying on for hundreds of thousands of years goes missing. But here is the deeper problem. It is not just about the nose versus the mouth. It is about what modern stress has done to the rhythm and volume of your breath itself. When your body perceives a threat, your breathing changes immediately. It speeds up. It becomes shallow. It moves into your chest instead of your belly. This is the sympathetic nervous system activating, the ancient fight-or-flight response that was designed to help your ancestors sprint away from a predator or fight for their lives. The problem is that your nervous system cannot always tell the difference between a physical threat and a psychological one. A deadline, an unanswered message, a difficult conversation you are dreading. To the older parts of your brain, these register as danger. And so your breathing shifts, faster, shallower, chest forward, exactly as it would if a predator had just appeared in the tree line. And then the threat passes, or seems to. But if you are living a modern life, the threats do not really stop coming, they just change shape. And your breathing never fully returns to baseline. Researcher and psychologist Dr. Margaret Chesney at the University of California documented a phenomenon she called email apnea, the tendency of people to hold their breath or dramatically reduce their breathing rate while reading messages on screens. She found this pattern in the vast majority of participants she observed. People were unconsciously suspending their breath in response to digital stress, dozens of times a day, without ever knowing it was happening. You do not feel the shift when it happens. That is what makes it so insidious. Your breathing changes silently, gradually, subtly, and because your body adapts, you begin to accept the new pattern as normal. The shallow, rapid, mouth-forward breath becomes your default, and you carry it everywhere. Here is what that costs you. When you breathe too fast and too shallowly, you exhale too much carbon dioxide too quickly. This might seem like a good thing, getting rid of waste. But carbon dioxide is not just a waste product. At the right levels, it is the chemical signal that tells your red blood cells to release oxygen into your tissues. This is called the Bohr effect, first described by physiologist Christian Bohr in 1904. When carbon dioxide drops too low, your blood holds onto oxygen more tightly, even as more of it is technically available. The result is that you can be breathing more air and actually delivering less oxygen to your brain and muscles. This is the paradox of overbreathing. More breath does not mean more oxygen reaching where it needs to go. It can mean less. The consequences are not dramatic. They are quiet, a low-level mental fog, a slight fatigue that never fully lifts, a background anxiety that does not have an obvious cause, a sleep that is not as restorative as it should be, a body that feels slightly more tense than it needs to be all the time. Pulmonologist Dr. Konstantin Buteyko spent decades studying this phenomenon in the 20th century. His central claim, controversial at the time, increasingly supported since, was that chronic overbreathing was contributing to a wide range of modern health conditions, and that retraining the breath to be slower, quieter, and nasal could reverse many of them. His patients reported improvements in asthma, anxiety, sleep quality, and athletic endurance. The mechanism was simple: less breath, more carbon dioxide, better oxygen delivery. The numbers are striking. The ideal breathing rate for a resting adult, according to the research, is somewhere between 6 and 10 breaths per minute. Studies consistently show that modern adults average 12 to 20. You are likely breathing somewhere between 1.5 and 3 times faster than your body actually needs. Now slow down. Not physically yet. Just think about it. 6 breaths per minute means 1 full breath every 10 seconds. A slow, quiet inhale through the nose. A slow, full exhale. Slightly longer than the inhale. A brief pause before the next one. This is the pattern that consistently activates the parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest state. The pattern that lowers heart rate, lowers blood pressure, reduces cortisol, improves focus, and signals to the oldest parts of your brain that the world is safe. Neuroscientist Andrew Huberman at Stanford University has documented how slow nasal breathing, particularly exhales that are longer than the inhale, directly activates the vagus nerve and shifts the nervous system away from the threat state. The exhale is the brake. Every slow, full exhale is a direct signal to your brain that whatever the danger was, it has passed. Your ancestors did not need to be taught this. They breathed through their noses because that was simply how humans breathed. They had no screens, no open-plan offices, no inboxes. Their stress was acute and physical. It came, it went, and the breath returned to its natural pattern. The chronic, low-grade, never-quite-over stress of modern life is genuinely new, and the body has not caught up. But here is what matters. Unlike almost every other system in your body, your breath is under both automatic and voluntary control. Your heart rate is automatic. Your digestion is automatic. Your breath is the one bridge, the one place where the automatic and the conscious meet, which means it is the one place where you can reach directly into your nervous system and change what is happening. You do not need a prescription. You do not need a device. You need about 5 minutes and the ability to slow down. Breathe in through your nose for 4 seconds, out through your nose for 6. Do that 10 times. Notice what happens to your shoulders. Notice what happens to the tension behind your eyes. Notice how your heart rate shifts. You have been doing this 20,000 times a day for your entire life. Today, for 10 of those breaths, you did it the way your body was always designed to. Right now, without thinking about it, you are breathing. But now you know what it should feel like when you do it right.